Just when you thought maybe we weren't going to go on tonight, maybe taking a day off, maybe had something else to do. Not so fast, ladies and gentlemen. We have plenty to talk about here over the next hour or so in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that our guest and several companies that he's a part of have certainly helped build Sportswire Radio to the tune of nearly 1,500 subscribers. And who knows, maybe tonight's the night we get to 1,500. We're literally a few away. We'll talk about that, but we'll most certainly talk about what on earth is going on in ROEW. What about what is going on in BYCW? What about last night's guest in a match that's 5 years in the making? And what about some usual suspects that usually get mentioned on here that maybe our guests will want to address? And maybe Taffy's Lounge, your one-stop source for your lo-fi beats, closing in on 2,000 subscribers? We'll get into all of that, plus who knows whatever else. I know that our guest has been here so many times that maybe he should just rename Sportswire Radio to the Nemesis Sessions with James Taylor. Maybe that's what we're going to announce. That's it, ladies. We're going to make the announcement here. Sportswire Radio is going to be officially now becoming the Nemesis Sessions with James Taylor. It's time to move on. It's time to retire. James is going to come on here. It's going to be like old times again. James is going to interview Omen Black and Soldier GP. He's going to interview Alexander Kelly again. He's going to have battles with Anthony Steele. And this is the night that I finally decided it's time to exit stage left and let James Taylor take over where he rightfully belongs, on a platform he most certainly helped build here. But before I announce my retirement and pass the baton off to James Taylor to rename Sportswire Radio, it is now time to give him one last introduction, because I know the chat wants it, he wants it, and he can't wait to rename this platform. But as I stated, but in the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, and start this night off in style on Sportswire Radio. For now, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show. A man with over 130,000 followers on social media. A man who many would say is the greatest owner in underground wrestling history. The man that founded the Promo Wrestling Federation and the host of the Nemesis Sessions with James Taylor, which we'll rename here on Sportswire Radio too. But before I do all of that, his name is, simply put, the Nemesis My friend, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, Tom. How you doing? You seem to be on fire tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Sportswire Radio is presented by Nature Honey, raw and unfiltered honey, 100% pure. And if you're a wrestler and you're trying to keep your antioxidants in, get you some of that honey because it really, really works.
Now, what are you actually doing with that honey? Are you putting it on something? Are you just dousing it like it's beer? I mean, what? What are you doing with it exactly?
Eating it. It's good shit.
Oh, I see.
I'll just eat the plain Jane honey.
You
So
don't put
anyways,
nothing on it. You put nothing on this honey. Nothing.
why would I put it? You usually put honey on something. You either put it in tea, you put it on biscuits, or whatever, or you just get you the unfiltered honey. It's just pure honey. It's got none of that
Yeah.
extra bullshit in it, and you just eat it. This really helps with your throat. This really helps with your tummy. If you're trying to lose weight, this is a good snack.
I
You want to try
really,
and
you
get
know
off the
what?
real
That
sugar?
I really need to lose weight. Yeah, I really need to lose weight. Yeah. So people are going to look at me and say, "You are nuts." No, I actually don't need to lose weight, but I don't think I'm having honey anytime soon.
What do you
But
weigh? About 130 pounds soaking wet.
yeah, probably. I mean,
You want about 50 of my pounds? You can have it.
I can still wear the same pants I wore in the 8th grade. People are like, I saw somebody in the street last week, and he's like, "Wow, you look exactly the same as I last saw you, which was 15 years ago." Yeah. Well, not enough about that. We're not here to talk about the past. We're not here to talk about James Taylor and his infatuation with honey. We have plenty to talk about here in the world of wrestling, and I'm going to start off here maybe as a recap from last night's show for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage of the platform that James Taylor most certainly helped build. Sportswire Radio to the tune of All Music and Wrestling Matters. You and Joey Knight, a match what? 5 years in the making?
Man, I know. I'll tell you what. Me and Joey Knight have had a couple of run-ins in the past when it comes to doing promo battles and going into the promo wrestling world, and we've had our fair share of matches digitally, apparently, and through social media. He's won some. I've won some. Quote unquote, I'm a nemesis to him,
He
but
said
that's
it last
because
night.
that is literally what it is. But to see that he has become successful and now he's in the indie scene and the professional wrestling world, I don't see why not. Why a guy from promo wrestling meets the teacher who taught him what he knows today, uh, how to really square up one on one in the ring. Because yeah, he might be trained, he might be in the ring with all these other indie guys, but he's never been in the ring physically with the nemesis James Taylor. He's might have been there mentally and he knows what it's like. He knows what to expect, but physically it's a whole different story. And that you can ask any other person that's ever been in the ring with me, and they know exactly what I bring to the show.
Well, how does that make you feel seeing somebody from the PWF now as a trained wrestler
Yep.
and is now a champion? He's the
I feel
HCW
proud.
Hardcore Champion. How does that make you feel?
I'm actually proud of him. I'm proud that he was able to carry on and take whatever I taught him to another level. And now he's gone and he's done what he's done. He's making a name for himself and he's going out there and taking the world on. And I couldn't be more proud of somebody like that. I'm not saying I had all of the hand of the world of telling him what to do, but I gave him the pointers of what I know and shared my experiences with him and gave him the experience of talking trash, and he was able to carry that with him to the indie scene. And now look what he's done. Now he's a world champ, or a hardcore champion.
He's been a
He's
tag
had
team
plenty of
champion. Yep.
matches. He's
Yep.
he's got a successful faction that he's running
The
in the
establishment,
indie
yes.
scene.
Hmm.
I mean, the man, he's 100% trained now. He could go all over the U.S. if he wanted to.
He addressed
So
that
there
last
it
night.
is.
He wants to travel. He said that he wants
Yeah.
to travel.
He wants to travel and he wants to get his feet wet. And he wants to do some stuff, and more power to him. He's still green as grass in my eyes, but the future is as far as the eye can see. So
Well, how does that motivate you now? Because obviously you've got a big showdown coming up in BYCW. I am sure you've got a few things to say about natural selection and Soldier GP and Justin Parsley and the usual suspects. But so how does that motivate you and what you're trying to accomplish right now?
Really, the only thing that I'm mostly trying to accomplish, which some people should know, is the fact that I'm trying to make this community better than what it is, what it was in yesteryear, what it was last year, what it was the year before that.
Yeah,
Ever since we went through, and we won't really talk about it, but I discovered something that's among our community. I brought it to the table last year, and we all discussed it. We flushed out, what we could of it, and some pop up here and there, and we're trying to get rid of it all. But
yeah,
really, that was my whole intent, is to get all the bullshit out of here, and let's just focus on this being one giant community. It doesn't have to be company against company all the time. Yes, competitiveness, 100%. Everybody should be competitive against each other, but at the same time, we should all support each other, and that's just a straight fact. And you get
yeah,
all the in order for the garden to grow, you got to pluck all the weeds out and throw all
yeah.
that shit
Well,
away.
yeah.
And that's what we're weeding through. We're weeding through all those bad
I think
weeds.
that,
Here
listen,
we
there's
are.
no question that it's to me addition by subtraction. I agree with you. I think that if you look at the platform here, I think by and large you've gotten a better platform. I think you've gotten newer people here, and I think that that's good for everybody. I don't think that will look the same in a few months. I think you've seen the last month or two a lot more different people come here, and I think that that's obviously a good thing. And I think that having people like Gary Wolf recently, I think about the music that's been here. Great White multi-platinum recording band with 10 million albums sold worldwide, and Zebra, King's X, Kicks, who had a song number 11 in the Hot 100. We think about what Rhino meant being here. Now he's wrestling for the NWA World Championship, was on Dynamite last week. Savio Vega. We've had a lot more pro wrestlers come on here, and I think that that's a good thing. Whereas I think that those companies that were weeded out and we're not going to go down that road, I don't know what would be and how would we be doing with that. So that's all stuff that is in the past. We move forward. It's up to anybody else to figure it out. If there's issues, I'm sure we'll find out about it. But I mean, for you though, in the short term, BYCW is coming up, and there's some mover and shakers in BYCW. Brett Anderson is back, and Brett Anderson is now back in a company that doesn't have some of that baggage that we talked about of retracted companies, and he's coming here right away. He's got a hardcore championship. Austin Edwards, who seemed like he was doing his best Goldberg version, did gain back the Intercontinental title, and you certainly still have Dalton Skull in your sights for that PWF Uprising Championship.
100% facts. See, Dalton Skull running around with that PWF championship and actually thinks that he is somebody. But what he doesn't understand is that it's not make believe. This is the reality check that he's going to get, and that's the nemesis James Taylor invading BYCW, and I'm going to take what is rightfully mine.
Mm.
I had opportunity on more than one occasion for that PWF championship, and I've always been that close, but something always got in the way. So here it is. Time is money, and it is now time for me to cash in and get what belongs to me rightfully, because if anything, I've paved the way. And after almost 19 years of not holding a championship, I think
Yeah.
it's due. I think it's long overdue that James Taylor finally gets a world title back. And it's not that I need a championship to pretend to be somebody. It's I need to show this generation that this generation, the guy who helps pave the way, is here to show that even at my caliber, I'm still world championship material, and I'm the man that's on top. Can't nobody stop me.
But
You
could this
know,
be your last title shot? I know
maybe
that
maybe
you've
maybe
gotten
this
title shots for the Uprising and the other PWF championship, but we don't know what the future is. And could this be your last title shot? We've been talking a lot about this with different shows. We had Maverick on here Monday night, who basically said, "This is my last shot. This is my last shot." Godric Sandwell was here a couple weeks ago, and he didn't win the big one. He choked. We had Ramrock on here a few weeks ago, and he did win the big one, but he choked in the first shot at it, and then he choked in the first defense. I mean, you are certainly in the same category. You're a veteran like those names that were here: Maverick, Godric Sandwell, and Ramrock, and the clock could be ticking. This could potentially be your last title shot.
Maybe, but what's my favorite three words? Never say never. You're gonna have to kill me. You're gonna have to break every bone in my body to keep me out of that ring. Whether it's a
Hmm.
trampoline, whether it's a squared circle, whatever the case may be. I don't care if it's on the ground again, if it's on a wrestling mat, if it's in a gymnasium. It doesn't matter where it's at. Win, lose, or draw, James Taylor is going to bring 100% to every single match that I'm in. And I'm going after Dalton Skull, and I'm taking that PWF Uprising Championship. But you know what?
What?
On a more recent level, I got word from the back that there's somebody inside BYCW, and I think we're going to hear from him on the next show. This is just a word of mouth. I don't know how
Okay.
true it is, but I heard that the actual world champion of BYCW has got some words to say
Yes,
about Dalton Skull.
we did see that during the end of this episode, which we're playing here right now, and we have Brett Anderson, who's been here before and has made his return, and boy, he has made quite a statement here, and he is going to win the BYCW Hardcore Championship. But yeah, the BYCW champion is no fan of Dalton Skull, which makes two of you. But that must make you feel good.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I have to agree with anything from the world champion Blake Steele, it's the fact that we probably both don't like Dalton Skull almost as equally. I mean, I don't necessarily hate the man, but he's got something that I want,
Well, you have
and
history with him in
I've
multiple
got a
locker
little
rooms.
bit
You
of
talked
history with
about
him.
this, and what I hear from the grapevine is that we're eventually supposed to do some type of coverage when this match airs. I don't know exactly in what form, but that's obviously something that we'll have to stay tuned for because this match is going to happen in a matter of weeks. What's your impressions of Brett Anderson and his return, winning the BYCW Hardcore Championship? What was your
So
impressions of?
I've never seen the man until I saw him come here to BYCW. From what I understand, he came all the way up from West Virginia or something
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
Virginia, yeah.
Came all the way down to Tennessee to be a part of BYCW, and he came in and he went full throttle and he won the hardcore title. There he is. I know he's going to be in BYCW for a little while, so we're going to see exactly what he can do. We saw what he just did to Brandon James, and the man's bringing 100%. Don't knock how anybody looks in this business because believe me, there's a few guys that look
Yeah,
just
well,
about the
Brett
same, if not
certainly, if
worse.
we showed some of this match, what Brett did, I mean, he definitely gave some offense. I mean, he was definitely hardcore. I mean, I'm not going to quite say he was as hardcore as Pitbull Gary Wolf, but, he was definitely doing his own version of that because we don't want to anger Mr. Wolf. But
No, no,
yeah,
no.
yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We appreciate Gary Wolf, but obviously that's something you're watching, and I'm sure that Dalton is out there, and that certainly is coming to a fruition, and you're excited.
I guess excitement is
What do you
the
mean you're not
thing.
excited? By the way,
I'm
you got to
more
own your
worried.
BYCW backpack.
I,
You got to get your and you should get your Dalton Skull shirt. You should get that Dalton Skull shirt.
there's the world champion right there.
Boy,
Let's
I
hear
tell
what
you
he's got
what,
to say.
we'll put it up here for the audience. We'll say hello to you in a minute, but
Because
he
I'm
has
tired
no
of coming
love.
out here each and every week defending this belt and apparently winning whatever company this is. I'm tired of coming out here every week and defending this belt because I was good to y'all. I did everything right. I cashed in before the match. I beat Dalton Skull fair and square. I've won every match I've ever had fair and square. What do I get in return? Y'all boo me when I come out for the triple threat? You cheer Dalton? You cheer Black Fart? Like, come on. I am your world champion and you boo me? Hell yeah, I'm going to take some fucking time off. I'm going to come back. I'm going to fucking do exactly what I said I was going to do.
Arrogant
I'm
prick
going to
right
win
there.
this title. And then you know where this title's going to go? It's going to go right there with
Uh-oh.
wherever the rest of that company is. This right here is the only world title. One, the only world title in BYCW. And two, for damn sure, the only world title in BYCW that matters. You know, you do have some people running around here, Dalton Skull, who claim to be world champions because Blake Steele doesn't want to show up for work. I don't want to show up for work because I don't have to. Blake Steele shows up when he wants, does what he wants, and wrestles who he wants. So from now on, every one of you watching this, you don't get the Blake Steele you're used to. You get Blake Steele. Just Blake Steele. Not me coming out here, yeah, I'm the world champion. No. You get the real and true Blake Steele. I'll show up when I want, where I want, and do what I want.
Sounds a lot like an Anthony Steele. That's what I do.
Just be the main event of Speed Limit 6.
What I do.
Sounds like Jason Storm also, huh?
I don't
It's
know
like
if I see Jason. We're gonna go.
punks-
We are getting to him. Oh,
These
are
punks
getting to him.
with their world titles, they think that they run shit when clearly they don't.
Well, he's the man right now, and he doesn't like Dalton Skull, and he did something to that championship belt, which I'm going to certainly leave that at that. But if you'd like to see more BYCW coverage on the road to Speed Limit 6, where James Taylor will finally get his hands on Dalton Skull, a match that is nearly 3 years in the making, we will certainly find this out on the BYCW YouTube page. So if you're here, hit that sub button for BYCW, because I am telling you, you are going to want to do that. We've got Austin Edwards here, who's back on top as the Intercontinental Champion. You, James, you've got a lot of people chasing you here at BYCW. Brett Anderson is back with gold. Blake Steele's probably got his opinion.
You know what I find interesting, Tom? You know what I find interesting?
Yes, sir.
It sounds like Blake Steele's mostly jealous of the fact that I come to BYCW and I targeted Dalton Skull and I didn't target him. Because to me, the PWF Uprising Championship has a little more prestige to it to me. Yeah, the BYCW title, is probably older, and it's got its history and all that. But I'm not there for the BYCW World Championship. I'm there to take the PWF Uprising Championship and make that title more relevant than what some other people say as the PWF Championship.
Well, that's obviously something that's in your sights, and certainly if you defeat Dalton Skull, you've got Justin Parsley here in the chat, and he's obviously been saying a few things, and people are still going to wonder, would you want to unify that championship? We continue to ask you that question, and I mean, Dalton's not here, so I really can't ask him that question, but I mean, is that something that you still are thinking about?
Yes and no. I'm kind of at a crossroads, no pun intended,
I see.
when it comes to that. If that, let's just say when I take that championship from Dalton Skull, because I'm going to obliterate him. I'm going to.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to certainly find out. I mean, I think that Dalton's going to have his case, and Dalton's certainly going to use tonight for ammo against you.
Where is Jack Nicholson tonight? I mean, he's in the chat, but why is he in the chat and he's not here trying to talk to me about it?
Because maybe he's a busy man. Maybe he's just trying to.
And I'm not a busy man. You're not a busy man.
I can't speak for him. He's in the chat. I can only.
Sounds more like he's a chicken shit, but that's just my opinion. I know he's probably a busy man, Tom.
Do you think he eats
doing
chicken
karaoke
stuff?
or whatever he's doing? But him and his little butt buddy GP and their little tag championships and stuff like that. I mean, whatever. But I'm gonna do what I gotta do because that's who I am.
Well, that sounds a lot like an Anthony Steele. That's what I do. That's how I do it. I mean, this is how we do it. Do you think maybe when Justin is doing karaoke or DJing that he plays that song, "This Is How We Do It" from Montel Jordan? You think that's
every Friday night?
Hey, it pays the bills, right?
Hey, if that's what pays the bills, then he's going to do what he thinks he needs to do, and that's absolutely okay. More power to him. But this year's going to be a really good year, Tom.
I think it's a great year already.
PWF Uprising Championship is going to be a hell of a thing. It's going to be a hell of a spectacle to watch. Yeah, James went back to the trampoline wrestling because.
Well, it's funny you said that. I'm glad you brought that up. Because Friday's guest, Chase Wakefield, I asked him that question. You were here for that. He's now joining you and going back on the trampoline. How do you like that? Chase Wakefield
Hey,
back on the trampoline, going to
some people want to
BCW.
knock it. Some people want to knock it, but I told Chase and I told him off camera, privately, but I'm
Yes,
going to go ahead and share it with the world that, you can knock trampoline wrestling all you want. Okay, guys. But those who don't know, trampoline wrestling, if anything, is more dangerous than actual physical wrestling in the professional wrestling ring. Let me tell you why. Yeah,
tell
there's
me.
a bunch of bouncing and stuff that can happen in there. But if you're in there going 100 miles an hour and you slip up once, you really can, it can be catastrophic. You could ruin your career instantly. I've seen a man end his career before it even got started just from wrestling on a trampoline because he didn't do what he was supposed to do, or something just happened. A trampoline match is more dangerous than you actually think. The bumps don't hurt as bad as they would in a real ring, no, but other things can happen. You could break an arm easier. You could break a leg easier. You could sprain your foot. You could fall off the wrong way and break your freaking neck. So let you tell me that trampoline wrestling is for where all the kids go. You get your big ass on a trampoline and let's see what you could do. Look at that Brett Michaels or whatever the hell his name
Brett Mike.
is.
Brett
Look what he
Anderson.
just
Brett
did.
Michaels,
That
I
man's over
know
300
I would
pounds.
like to correct you. It's Brett Anderson. I know Brett Michaels. Some people that are listening to this right now would like to see Poison come on Sportswire. Give me a couple of weeks, but we
Yeah,
actually
there
have
you go.
we actually do know the band actually, but
Nice, nice.
we do.
Every
But
rose has its thorn.
yes, yes, it does.
So Brett Anderson brought his big 300-pound ass right into BYCW, got on the trampoline, and he went to town. And the guy had no problem getting in that ring, getting on that trampoline, and taking care of business. And look at what he did. He just became the hardcore champion. Not many people can say they've done that. They think it's easy until they get on there. Let's really see how well you do when you get into a trampoline. But what I'm making my point though now is the fact that when it comes down to me and Dalton Skull, at the end of the day, Tom, at the end of the day, everybody that's watching, me and
Yeah,
Dalton Skull are going to tear the house down at speed limit 6. And not only are we going to do that, we're going to do that in a special match that I'm choosing. And you'll see that at our contract signing because I'm going to lay the challenge out. And it's going to be up to Dalton Skull if he accepts or not.
yeah.
And if he accepts, that he's going to be stepping into the ring with in my world, and he's going to understand who in the hell the Tyrant King is in all of wrestling.
Well, I tell
Because
you what, I understand that we are going to have some type of coverage for that, and to use the band Poison as a reference, we may want action. Brett Michaels famously screamed, "I want action" when we see James Taylor versus Dalton Skull. I just took the word tonight and
there
started
you go.
singing that. Yeah, but yeah, we'll definitely get that action, and I am sure that we will unskinny bop off the trampoline when that time comes. Get at the Poison references, unskinny bop, and I want action, and we're gonna definitely not talk dirty to you. We don't do this here on this station. We're a family station, but obviously, yeah, we don't do that here on Sportswire. We really don't. Gary Wolf would certainly have a problem with that. But before I do get to the chat and talk about the second half of the show, which is going to be ROEW, you and I were talking about something yesterday, and I thought it'd be interesting for the chat. I see a bunch of people here. I think people are fired up, and you said, nobody will tune in. I'm like, nah, people are waiting. They're waiting for this. They're like, where is he? Yeah, I'm going to be here. Don't you worry about that. But you wanted to talk about something with different pro wrestlers that come on here, and you had a few words of wisdom you might want to say. And what do you want to say to the audience that you talked to me about off the air last night?
You get these pro wrestlers on here and these indie wrestlers who like to, they get on here and look at me. I'm Mr. Trained somebody because, I'm an indie wrestler and I paid my $500 or I paid my $3,000 to be properly trained. So that makes me a real pro wrestler. But they get on here and they're stale and boring as shit. There's no believability. I don't believe in them. And then you're like, well, you know what? Maybe they'd want to interact with some fans. Maybe they'd want to interact with somebody and really put their skills to the test because being in the ring is one thing, but going face to face, mic to mic with somebody is a whole different entity. But no, they don't want to do that. Instead, they think that it's their time and the spotlight should be on them. Now, granted, this is professional wrestling. We're all arrogant to a degree. We all
Mhm.
have the egos that we got. But come on. A guy who really isn't afraid to take on anybody and talk to anybody is a guy that you want that all the eyes come on. I mean, look at me. Look at me, for
Yes,
instance.
sir.
Look at the nemesis James Taylor. I'm not just a name. You see, I get on here and I promote myself wherever I go. And some people might be like, well, I don't want to be on there every single day or every single week because I'm going to feel like I'm getting stale and I don't want to bore the audience. Well, if the audience is boring or bored of you, it's mostly because of the fact that you can't talk. How about
Mhm.
that? You can't talk, you can't sell yourself because you really don't know what else to talk about. So my challenge to these guys who think that the spotlight needs to always be on them, how about grow a real set? Let somebody from the backyard or the underground scene get on here and chit chat with you a little bit. Why don't you share some of your advice to that underground superstar and show and tell them exactly how it is in the indie scene?
Well, let
And
me ask
then
you a different question. All right, you say something interesting. And I know a lot of everybody who's in the chat is usuals that have been here and are mostly from the underground scene. So everybody that's here right now in the chat is mostly been here or, like I said, wrestle in the underground. So everybody's, it's almost like we're talking amongst each other for a minute. But do you think, and this is your opinion, doesn't have to be anybody else's, but do you think that, let's say, indie guys that come on here or certain pro guys that come on here, do they look down on some of us or those in the underground? Do you think from your vantage point that that's the case? What's your opinion?
probably I don't know, probably about 70-30. 70%, yeah, I do. They think they look down on us. And the other 30%, no. Let me tell you about the 30% real quick before I get to that
Give me the
70.
give me the
Interesting
30.
number, right? That 30% are guys that actually came from the same environment that we have. There's
Yeah.
wrestlers that have done backyard wrestling that went in there and they don't really knock it. They say be careful, but at the same time, they do appreciate it because they know what it's like to want to be into it because they love it that much. They have the
Mhm.
passion for it. So they're fine, but it's that 70%, those entitled sons of bitches that get into the wrestling world because they paid for their schooling and they look down upon us underground and
I
backyard
also
wrestlers
think that it's some of
because
them came into it at an older age. I'm gonna say it. A lot of the British wrestlers that have come on here over the years, I feel like you're talking about them in part of the 70% because they would come on here, and a lot of them, pretty much how you described. So I could see
that
that
some of them,
being,
but
yeah.
there's some in the U.S. as well. There's a
No,
lot in the
obviously, but
U.S. as
I've
well.
had on a lot of British wrestlers over the years. I mean, I've had a lot of them. To this day, I've had more British wrestlers on here than probably American wrestlers. But there's no question that it could be a number of things. Like you said, maybe they didn't go and start in the backyard. Maybe they didn't start in the underground. And maybe it's just they started at an older age and they're
Started
here.
at an older age. I get that, but at the same time, I don't agree with their sights on what wrestling is because to them it's just a business and it's just a paycheck because they paid money just like anybody that goes to a college to go get a college degree to go get that big intern job so they can make that big check because they paid a tuition. But not all of us are fortunate enough to have that type of money to pay for a tuition to go into something that they actually are passionate about when these guys aren't passionate about it. It was just something that happened to work out really well for
So
them.
are you
And I know
saying
that it's
then?
not passion
Okay, so are
because
you
you
saying that?
look at
Yeah.
any real underground and backyard wrestler, Tom. Let anybody that's listening, look at any of them. Most of them, 90% of them, have the heart for this, have the
Oh, I'm aware.
passion for this.
Listen. I'm a big champion of that. I don't think it goes without saying. But what it sounds to me like you're saying that a lot of indie or pro guys that have come on here, because this is kind of almost, as I'm going to say it, one wrestler that's coming on here Friday has said this is the only platform where everybody kind of mixes in. You get these different people from different food groups that come here. Are you saying that some of them that come here are not believable and it's maybe that's why it comes across the way it does?
let's use a little intuition when it comes to that question right there.
All right.
Let's look these guys. What you just said, yeah, they're coming on here as a mix. There's a little mix of every single piece of food group. I guess we could
Yep.
do as an example.
Yeah.
You got the guys on here who know how to talk, and you get a lot of guys on here that don't know how to talk. And I think those guys that come on here that say bullshit like that to come on here, they're not coming on here because you know this is exactly where it's at. They're coming on here, if anything, in my eyes, this is just my opinion. They're coming on here to use your platform that you've made relevant, Tom, because you bring all the eyes to the product because everybody wants to hear Tom Bryce on Sportswire Radio because you've got your name. And they're like, you know what? He's not going to charge me to come on there. Maybe I could come on there and talk a little bit and somebody will tune in. Yeah, maybe somebody will tune in.
Sometimes, I
But
mean,
it really
sometimes.
depends.
Sometimes, yeah. Listen, I always say,
But
objectively speaking, that this platform, you'll make your own decision. Sometimes when the pro guys come on, sometimes people tune in, others have not tuned in. I think that our
Yeah.
friends in LAW, for example, I think that they have kind of done a nice job. We've gotten some of them on here. They've been great. But whether it's the British wrestlers in the past or maybe some different veteran indie pro guys on here, yeah, I mean, it's like anything else, right? It's like I come from the world of politics, and people vote the name, they vote who they know. And on this platform, right, we see James Taylor, we see Justin Parsley, we see Torrance Banks here, we see Omen Black, we see Soldier GP, Anthony Steele, Jake Dvorak. You see names that right? Sean Jovi. You're going to go and tune in to want to hear those names, right? You're going to want to hear what they have to say. If it's somebody that's across the pond, or if it's somebody that you don't really know what their experience is, or if you hear them for 10 minutes here, you're not going to tune in. It's like anything else. Or if their wrestling ability is not maybe up to par. I mean, I think that's part of what it is too. I mean, if you're asking me objectively, I know I've been doing this for 6.5 years. I believe me, I'm the guy sitting there. I've sat through a lot of pro guys that was one guy here, Philip Michael in the UK. He looks like Osprey, but he was like dry as glue. I mean, there are guys that have come on here. Davey Getsky couldn't talk from the UK. We had Bob Costin. I mean, he was a weirdo. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have come on here, and yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, pro guys, but I make the point that they don't have the fight. When you're in the backyard in the underground, you're fighting for everything possible. You're fighting to present yourself as a YouTube product. You're fighting almost to prove that you belong. You prove to people that you're worth something. If I'm a pro guy and, this was something I was paid at a school and I'm trained to take every move possible. I have a buddy of mine, Chris Urban, great guy. He came on here 4 years ago. He's not much of a talker. He's got the look. He's got a six-pack. He can do it all in the ring, but talking is not his strength. I mean, there are people, I have a background in politics. There's people that I worked for that I had to do all the talking for them, literally. I mean, that's just unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you see it, you're going to get pro guys that come on here and some of them can't talk. I mean, that's just because of their
some of them are going to sit there and wonder, how come nobody tunes in to see me? I'm a pro guy. Look at me. I'm a $1 million.
Well, that's a problem that they have to answer. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, but that's a problem that they have to ask themselves, why aren't they marketing this? See, that I can't help with. I can have them come on here and talk about what they're doing, but that's a question that they have to ask themselves, because when you go to wrestling school, right, real talk for a minute, they don't tell you how to promote yourself. Yes, learning to take every fall, learning doing every move safely is absolutely critical. That's an important, but if I'm paying $4,000, $3,000 to go to wrestling school and go learn from somebody, I'm not being paid how to promote myself on social media. I'm not paying to do those things that you see here. So I mean, that's a question that those wrestlers have to ask themselves, why they only have a few hundred followers, or why they only get a handful of people on the live here, or whatever those reasons. Because again, going to wrestling school, yes, very important. I encourage it. You got to learn to be safe. You got to take all your moves. You got to learn to perform them in a safe and timely fashion. But when it comes to promoting yourself, they're not going to teach you that in wrestling school. It's just like I'm a notary, right? I'm a commissioner of deeds. I passed my test, but I have my license. They don't tell me how to get the job. It's up to me. It's the same. It's the same thing in the wrestling world. It's DIY basically. Simple as
100%.
that. That's why backyard and underground guys that do come on here, whether you like them or not. Some like them here, some do not. Tyson Spade's here tomorrow at 9:00. Tune in. But I mean, there are people that come here and they may have half the skills that some other guys you have come on here, but they can promote themselves. They can talk. I mean, but listen, it's not every person in the backyard and the underground that can talk. But I think if you look at it, maybe a larger percentage of backyard and underground guys may promote or talk better than some pros over the years that have come here. I mean, I think that's could be to the point. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's my.
I guess my point in the whole matter is just the fact of I don't like an arrogant piece of shit that's out of character because they really think they're somebody to come onto a platform such as this and think that the spotlight's due only on them and give nobody else a chance to even talk to because they really think they're somebody, but yet you're drawing everybody out. You're boring everybody out of the damn building. And you say, how dare you underground and backyard wrestlers try and do what you do? You're not properly trained. So how dare us? How dare you? How about that? How dare you to go into a sport like this and think that you're somebody when you're not because you don't have the heart for it and the compassion and the passion for this business like a true underground or a backyard wrestler would.
I think that's again, and we'll get to the chat. I think that's ultimately a question to the individual. I think that lately the pro wrestlers that have come on here, I think have been pretty good. I mean, we've had Ramrock. I mean, Ramrock was great here. I think we've had on Michael McMoney, who's back here next Friday. He's great. I think we had Maverick. A lot of people tuned in for him. I mean, we've had, certainly Gary Wolf. I mean, Gary Wolf's a living legend. I mean, so we've had, some really high caliber talents come on here. Rad Dad's here on Memorial Day. Now, Rad Dad is a guy to me that he came up from our community and he's been successful. He's going to get a lot of people to tune in. He's somebody that made the transition. But I understand what you're saying because, listen, I get a lot of them, the British guys, some indie guys that come on here, it's what it is. I mean, it's unfortunately, it's like anything else, right? I mean, it's like if I go to the store and I want to buy something, right? And the package doesn't look presentable, I'm not going to buy it, right? If I want to go eat something, right? And I know that food is not as good, right? I'm not going to try it. And it's just the same thing sometimes. It's like that with people on the platform. People make their choices on who they want to tune into. I think that's ultimate. Listen, and I understand what you're saying because, and this is for a lot of the backyard undergrounders that are here because by and large, that's who's here tonight. And I say it all the time. I say it to the pro guys. I tell it to them off the air. 2/3 to 3/4 of the people that tune into Sportswire are from the underground and the backyard. And I know my subscribers, I know my base. They're the backyard and the underground. That's the reason, you in the chat, James here, some of the others that are here regularly, you're the reasons why Rhino is here. You're the reasons why Savio Vega came here. You're the reason why Gary Wolf just came here. You're the reason why Great White, Zebra, Kings X, and Kicks all came here because they see the numbers. They see it. And they came in. We didn't get charged for it. We didn't pay to bring these people on. There are podcasters out there, God bless them. God bless America or God bless where your show is based out of. And they pay a name. They pay Just Incredible. They pay Buff Bagwell. And spoiler alert, they'll charge them $200 for an interview, $100 an interview. Rikishi charges. God bless. I have nothing wrong with that. That's the almighty dollar. But we don't charge people to come on here. We don't ask people, and I don't pay people. We come here and we give people an opportunity. And those wrestlers that I just mentioned, right, and those bands, they're massive. They came here and they wanted to be here. That's because of all of you. And that's why we're almost at 1,500 subscribers. That's why we're going to name it the Nemesis Sessions with James Taylor because I'm retiring tonight. This is it. This is my swan song, and James is taking over. So now you have to deal with James again. But no, really, that's the facts is that we're at almost 1,500 subscribers. I have people in my home community that, oh, yeah, I knew you were going to be big. They laughed at it years ago. So, I mean, and I think that's why we're here. I think that people come on. Listen, I don't want to talk about all that, but Gary Wolf actually said off the air, I'm glad I came here because of all the interviews I've done, you were different. He's like, you asked me different questions. Rhino said it on the air. Boy, nobody ever asked me that question before. The band, you know what? Mark Kendall of Great White said, that was different, because they get asked the same questions and, they'll do an interview with maybe somebody who has more followers or, maybe they'll get certain things out of it or maybe they get paid for it. But it's the same formatted interview. It's the same thing. It's the same, or the podcaster will ask them about something unrelated. But by and large, people come here because they know that there's only one platform that stood the test of time, and it's because of all of you. You've made it All Wrestling Matters, and it's all of your platform. It's not my platform. It's nobody's one individual's platform. It's your platform, and that's why all these people come here. So it's the truth. Now that's you want to say anything else before I get to the chat, because a lot of people want to talk tonight.
What about that one guy who doesn't agree with All Wrestling Matters? He likes to say Our Wrestling Matters.
Well, you're going to talk about him after we get through the chat. I know you're salivating for that. Yes, I know you're going to get to him. I know that you're going to definitely get to him, and he'll definitely be a topic. But no, he is, though, admittedly, one of the people that he did build the platform. He's been here, and I would not put him in the same category as a pro wrestler that can talk, because he can certainly talk and he can carry a conversation. You may not agree with all of his opinions, but he can definitely carry a conversation. He's definitely somebody that is very memorable, and I'm very happy that so many people are here at 11:51 p.m. New York time. Didn't even announce it. We got, I don't know, like 15 people on YouTube. It's because of all of you, and it's really you built the. Like I said, you wouldn't have had this. Look at this guy who came on here. We had a nice little write-up for Gary Wolf. I mean, Gary Wolf comes on the Sportswire Radio. How about that? How do you like that? Gary Wolf's here. He's here because of all of you. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. All these people, and you see him, and he's flesh in the wound, and all these different people. They're here because of all of you. Look at Rhino, right? Rhino is going to compete for the NWA Championship. He's here because of every person that subscribes and tunes in and wants to be here, and it's great, and we appreciate all of you. And I always tell people I'm nothing without the people. But let's get to the chat. It's getting late. They want to talk to you. We're going to go like this. James is blacked out because he knows that Dalton Skull's coming for him. And BYCW, speaking of people that are here, and he said this is a rerun. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. This is you're a rerun guest. You're a rerun guest. That was I think that was a character. Was that in Good Times for somebody? I think Rerun was in Good Times, but
yeah.
Great stuff. Zilla's here. I saw Zilla I was checking out a little bit of the DBW Mr. Judgment Confessionals chat. It was nice to see some familiar faces. I saw Silas Walker. I saw Austin James, Ace Christian. I saw Aaron Blaze, who's, by the way, here Friday night. I saw him here, 9 o'clock. I saw Mr. Judgment. I mean, it was nice to see some familiar faces, and I was enjoying what they had a back and forth where they were talking about Brandon Castelli. They were talking about Silas himself and the World Extreme Champion. A lot of great stuff they were talking about. Check out our friends at DBW. He said 4,000 subs. Yes, Justin Parsley. I was talking to Austin Edwards a few days ago, and he's here now, and there you go. And it's nice to see Brett Anderson. Brett Anderson is here. He wants to say, hey, fellas, and he always liked you. He always did praise you on here on Sportswire. Brett always praised you. Yeah, he always did. Now you may work together. And I basically bought you time, because you weren't going to show up tonight. We weren't going to do the show. We thought, maybe we'll bring a pro wrestler on. Maybe nobody will tune in, But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's great. Now we love all the wrestlers that have come on here. Even if you didn't tune in, we still appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. I don't know if you remember me, which we're talking about like the UK ones, but well, actually, we do love the Tribal Cheese. Now, the Tribal Cheese is one UK wrestler that comes on here. He loves this platform. He is great. I love the Tribal Cheese. RP Davis, Dean Olmark, my old friend Dean Olmark, but Nathaniel Raid, which, by the way, I have a Nathaniel Raid shirt, which I'm going to be wearing tomorrow, by the way. I've got my own Nathaniel Raid shirt that I'm wearing tomorrow. I haven't worn it in a month, and it's sitting next to me, and I have to wear it. Okay. Yeah, I got a shirt. I got to wear it. I got to wear it. And by the way, you got to go out there and If we're here in the chat, we got to buy Gary Wolf's book. We got to buy. Gary's liked even Backyard Wrestlers post on Facebook. Probably doesn't know who it is, but he's liked like all my posts, Gary Wolf. So we got to go buy Gary's book. Go buy Gary's book. Gary's great. Man, this is the longest he waited because we were supposed to be here at 4:30 p.m. But hey, we're here now. But you know what? James, you showed up. I mean, listen, you showed up,
Yeah, right.
Brett Anderson was fine with it, and it happens. See, I gave you a pass, James. I said it happens, and I'm here. And you were doing your best, Justin Parsley, tonight. And I said you were here, and I said the legendary James Taylor, and thought he was doing his impression of. Well, we're going to get to that in the chat. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. We're going to get to that. A lot of people want to talk. Want to give them an opportunity. Yes, hello. Zilla was in a couple of different chats I saw today. Hello to Abram Storm. Abram Storm graduated high school today or yesterday. Congratulations, Abram Storm. The thunderous one is now thunderously advanced through high school. Now you got to go to college and get a good education. But so you don't be like me. Actually, you want to be like me. My bank account's pretty good, so you want to be like me, actually. Though, actually, don't have the mutton chops. Punctuality is the thief of time. Oscar Wilde. Who knew Justin Parsley was a poet? But then again, he's a Jeopardy trivia host. The underground OG Darkron is here, and he certainly hopes you're doing well. Thank you very much for that. Dakota, who left us a few minutes ago, wanted to stop by and say hello. Dakota's doing a great job with her business, by the way. And by the way, IMF drew a lot of people at that last show. Can't wait to watch Rage in the Cage and talk about it. Austin Edwards is excited to meet you. James Taylor and Caps Locks. I'm excited too. A lot of people here talking. A lot of comments tonight. A lot of comments. And Dalton Skull's in the house. What?
Dalton Skull, you think you're something? Come on here and talk, buddy.
Well, he's going to save it for the ring. Hi. How you doing? I was watching Lucifer on Netflix. Any good? I don't have Netflix, so I'm out of luck. I don't know.
I've been watching an interview with the vampire with my wife. So,
well, you know what? I am not that person, but I will say that I did see something for a commercial for a Kansas City Chiefs mascot Netflix documentary, Amazon Prime documentary that looked interesting. He robbed banks in 11 different states, and he was like this Kansas City Chiefs super fan. Maybe that's why Travis hasn't been with Taylor in the streets recently. And that's a great question. That's up to the IMF. They'll eventually post it because we know it. You know it, and everyone else. Honey on biscuits and cornbread is so good. I've never had, so what do I know? But again, I don't really eat biscuits and cornbread. I didn't. I'm New York City.
Yeah, you're not from the South, so you don't know.
I didn't have. My mother didn't make corn like I could count on my hand how many times she made cornbread. It was Jiffy cornbread mix, but she did that a handful of times. Biscuits I had growing up, but biscuits was with dinner, not with honey. But Dakota likes it, then I like it. Our friends in BTW certainly had a great show yesterday. I was in their chat for a little bit. I'm looking forward to seeing more coverage with them. Comatose was here not too long ago, and hi to BTW. Yes. Follow the PWF because, well, it helps James and it helps me. Eyeballs, I think because we mentioned BYCW. And that's amazing that did do that. I don't even remember what we were talking about. How I have no idea. Athena is here, the Valley girl, not from California, but Philadelphia. How you doing out there? Il Drago, who's definitely my high chief, my Samoan dragon, who can most certainly carry a conversation, who I know I can't wait to see back on Sportswire, would like to say hello. And shout out to his other half, Kiara's Comfrey Creations. They're killing it. I hear there are people interested in Arizona. I wonder what fans would do if we got a ring. Maybe one day. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Get it? Who knows?
Wait. Who knows?
Yeah. Can't wait to see that match happen. Yeah, we've been talking about it for, a month now? Yeah, I hope it happens too. Everybody's doing good. Great. Also, we have here, not the Boogeyman, but somebody named Shane, that the PWF Uprising title isn't a world title. That's in the hands of one Justin Parsley, but you'll make it a world title should you win the PWF Uprising Championship.
The Uprising title is a world title. I'm older and I'm wiser, so the PWF title is a secondary championship.
Oh, you know what? And
that Justin Parsley currently holds. That is no comment.
And I'm sure that you and Dalton Skull on that particular point would agree, but who really knows?
I agree.
Well, Dalton, I said, would agree with you on that, but we don't know if Dalton did. But hello. Obviously, I guess Is Casey spying for Anthony, you think? Or is that
Probably.
Well, Anthony's got to have his sources on the ground, and she's
Yeah.
here. So, I mean, Anthony's certainly got his sources out there. Anthony's Anthony. He'll be back soon. He'll be back. He's waiting.
I'm sure he will.
He's waiting
He's
for Rage in
lurking.
he's lurking. Rage in the Cage is about to drop, I'm sure, soon. Shane, it was so good to see you last weekend. Yeah, we like Shane. We like Shane. Have you met Shane before? I haven't met him before.
Shane who?
Shane McMahon?
Shane Helms, the Hurricane. Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. I've met him.
My brother's middle name is Shane.
Okay.
Brian Shane Bryce. Yeah, Brian Shane. He was named after a movie, Shane.
Oh,
my dad.
Shane,
my dad.
like
Yeah,
Shane
my dad.
O'Mac?
Well, his name's Brian Shane Bryce, but there was a movie famously called Shane in the 80s. It was like a horror movie. And my dad decided one day, I'm naming him Shane or something like that. He would tell the story.
Shane from The Walking Dead?
That could be too, but he's dead, my dad, so he might be the Walking Dead. But hey, who knows? Well, don't feel too bad. My co-host Heshy Tischler and I, we do a news show, and Heshy was talking about burying his mother-in-law in the dark and the dead, and he was talking about walking in the cemetery and the dead, and it sounded funnier. It sounded funnier on his show. But Jacob Collins, the Prestige champion, who I know you're very happy about, finally handled the Cash Carter problem. There will be no more sitting on the title. I'm going to be a fighting champion, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes because we got to get through a lot more comments because you got a lot of people here tonight. Thank you again, Oos. Yes, we love Darkron, we love Il Drago, and we love James Taylor. The PWF champion, Justin Parsley, has held the world title for almost an entire year. That's a good point. Who is good enough to take it from him, or should I say who will at least try? Well, I mean, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Apparently Shane and Kron know each other. Second person, by the way, with a boogeyman photo. We had on last night, 2 nights ago, Courtney Wood, and it was Pepper Pride who actually had a picture with the boogeyman. And she's now the Indie Vision champion. Hi. Who else we got? Yeah, Blake Steele had something that we're gonna go like this for. He had that. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're a woman in the chat here, cover your ears. Jacob, how's it going, champ? Hit the BYCW sub button and hit the sub button for me and tell your friends. I'm almost at 1,500 subscribers. James, when we get to 1,500 subscribers, we're going to celebrate that, even though it might be your platform still. But apparently the boogeyman's going to come here and christen Sportswire for 1,500.
Are you going to get a James Taylor umbrella tattoo? Right.
I should still get a tattoo. I haven't done anything yet. I'm too chicken. I'm too chicken. But hey, look, I give back enough to the community, right? I'll get a pass. I think so. We got almost 20 people here on YouTube. They're happy. Fake champ Blake Steele. Well, you know what? I'm going to let Blake Steele address that. It's going great, Kron. That celebration of me, you, CJ was great. Thanks for buying the beers. I didn't even know Jacob Collins drank beer. I thought it would have been like drinking milk like Kurt Angle.
I figured that too. That's kind of a, interesting.
Well, yeah.
I did not know that.
Great. First, only, and forever, PWF champion.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll move on. Patricia, hello. Hey, gotta love our metal bands on Sportswire. There he is. But boy, they're really trying to lay into you there on that. We're gonna get there in a few minutes.
I know I am the real PWF champion. I will be at least.
You will be. We haven't won it yet. Dalton Skull will definitely disagree with that. These guys seem to know each other very well. How was your weekend, Justin? Did you win? Actually, don't tell me. Yeah, don't spoil it. Yeah, it's a great point. We haven't found out Rage in the Cage, and how's it's been real, guys. I give James Taylor this. He actually showed up, unlike others. Well, you did show up at BYCW. That's a great point. And I am sure you're going to address what's next in a few minutes. James, with all due respect, I will watch your match very closely. The Intercontinental Champion studying you, and he's defeated Dalton Skull. Maybe you ask Austin Edwards for advice on how to defeat Dalton Skull. It could be.
I get a lot of respect from guys in the South, but the guys up north, they show a lot of disrespect because they just don't get it. They really haven't had a country ass whipping, I guess is what it is.
Well, I'm a Northerner, and I love James Taylor.
Well, I appreciate that. You're a little further north than the rest
I'm
of
way.
these guys.
Yeah, I'm like Torrance Banks and I are like way up here, and you guys are over there. Yeah, Torrance, who's here, my buddy's going to be here. I think the first Saturday in June. We always do the first Saturday of the month.
I even got guys across the pond over there in the UK, in London, and England. I got guys that are over there in Australia that respect me. but for some reason, right in that little shit ass area of lower peninsula of Michigan, there's like two or three guys there, and then in Iowa and Palos somewhere around there, parts of Indiana, not all the guys in Indiana, but some parts of Indiana, just that little clusterfuck of people, just that for some reason they ain't James Taylor fans, and that's okay because I don't expect you to be fans
Yeah.
of me. It's just the fact that you want to hate on me because I'm that much better than you because I'm a real man. I'm a real entity in this business, and I'll wipe the floor with all of you, and you already know it.
He's a man's man, to quote Stephen Regal at the time. But we do love
Yeah,
those
that'd be
tapes.
like Steven Regal, what he did with Goldberg that time he got in the ring with him.
And that was
I'll
his last.
embarrass your ass.
Well, I mean, there is that, but Torrance is here, and I'm very grateful Torrance is here. Have you seen a trampoline hold 10 people at one time? That's a good point. I don't know if I have. I don't know. And Torrance Banks has been looking to come to ROEW for a long time, and he and some of the guys in Buffalo would love to come up to Michigan. And I would hope maybe you would maybe consider maybe seeing guys like Torrance Banks and maybe some other guys like Shockey, who I know has reached out to you, and certainly Mickey Vargas, who's traveled to Texas. So maybe you could pay attention to those guys and consider them to come to ROEW. Would love to see these guys mix it up in ROEW. Just saying.
Okay. Okay. Well, we definitely need to have a business meeting and talk with him.
I can give you his info. His man's not a hard man to find. I'll do it when we're off the air. Let's make this year's Summer Bash something spectacular. Let's finally put to rest the PWF title dilemma. Let's unify the world title and uprising title this July. Justin Parsley versus Dalton Skull or James Taylor. Well, Dalton's not here.
I really don't. That's where I'm at that crossroads because I don't. I mean, it's up to Dalton if he miraculously defeats me. But let's just say on a hypothetical level that I win, then that's where I'm going to be at a crossroads because
Understood.
I don't know really if I would want to unify the title just yet because I have mixed opinions about it. But we'd have to talk more about that.
And I think that's, and I would say as we're here with James Taylor, my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all music and wrestling matters here on Sportswire. Because Dalton is the other part of the equation, I understand that point because that he is the champion currently, and that's a decision that's up to him. So I can understand that from a number of reasons.
Maybe whether it's Dalton Skull or not, maybe I got bigger plans for that title. So
that could be too. You know, we just don't know. But that's a great idea. Our GM is here, Shane McMahon, the world champion versus the uprising champion, have the opportunity to unify the championship and see which. But again, you just answered that question, and Dalton's not here to obviously address.
Yeah, and
that.
I can't answer on Dalton's behalf, but all I can say is right now that Dalton and I have got a date for that title.
That's a good point.
We're going to find out at Speed Limit 6, so stay tuned.
Good point.
And then we could talk business after that.
And I think we'd all agree with that. Thank you, Brett. And I just mentioned Torrance. Torrance is always one of my favorites. Torrance can definitely talk, and give Torrance some love on Instagram and YouTube. And he's a good Pokemon player, Yu-Gi-Oh player. What's up? How you doing? Yep. Hello to Abram Storm.
You know, speaking of Pokemon, do you collect Pokemon cards? Do you know anybody that does?
I don't collect. I know Sean Jovi does. I don't collect Pokemon. Do you think I have time to collect Pokemon?
My wife just got a pack of the Pokemon prismatic evolutions with the evolutions and stuff, and she pulled a semi-god pack, and she got the biggest card, the biggest hit in there, the Umbreon. So there's a little fun fact: she just pulled a $1,300 card just the other day.
Wow, $1,300. Boy, are you asking me to buy the card?
No, I'm not asking you to. I was just letting you know that.
I was kidding. It was a joke.
My wife's a Pokemon collector, so.
No, you know what? My brother, when I was growing up in Brooklyn, my brother Brian collected Pokemon. I definitely, there's a value for it, you know, but I didn't really collect Pokemon. But James does have a YouTube account with Taffy's Lounge before we get to the second half of the chat. And if you'd like, please hit the sub.
My wife has actually been taking over that and been doing really well with it.
And you guys are closing in on 1,800 subscribers. So if you can, hit the sub button for me. If you like lo-fi beats, if you like some music to study, relax with, if you like just, let's say, Sirius XM watercolors or low hi-fi beats on there, you can listen to this for free on this Taffy's Lounge YouTube channel, which I just put that link up for. So hit that sub button for him and join the Taffy's Lounge chat as we speak. You can actually watch both. You can watch me and listen to Taffy's Lounge at the same time. Maybe you don't want to hear me anymore. Just listen to Taffy's Lounge.
I think she's got like 20 or 30 something people in there right
Yeah,
now.
did 100 at one
It's
point.
been going almost 48 hours. So
Mickey Knuckles is 5'4". I have no choice but to look down at someone like her because get it, Mickey Knuckles is one of the toughest wrestlers, period, in the world. She's a hardcore deathmatch wrestler, and she beats up the men. She is in POR. She's in LAW. She's a part of the X brand wrestling company there. I mean, she is like goated. Yeah, that's definitely facts. Thank you very much for that. So yeah, I think they were appreciating us talking about some pro wrestlers that put people to sleep. But maybe the pro wrestlers are actually sleeping right now. Maybe they're sleeping. They are sleeping. I want to become a trampoline wrestler, and the company I want to go to is BCW. Well, Maxwell Reeves and Tsunami are here next Wednesday, so let them know. An old foe of yours, or attempted foe of yours, sort of. Cameron Cage is here. How you doing?
How you doing, Cam? What's up?
Doing great. And another familiar face from the PWF era is here. And,
King Vampire. That's a good dude right there.
Good man. And
real
Tyson Spade
respectable.
tomorrow at 9:00. He's got to follow you up. Yeah, that's going to be tough, but he'll try. He'll have something to say.
Who will?
Tyson Spade from NEW DHC. He's stolen the tag team championships there, kind of. But that'll be tomorrow.
Tag title. Okay.
I'm starting to fall asleep. Yeah, we'll get the show over soon. We'll get it over.
Coda. You go on.
Rad Dad is back on Memorial Day. He is one person, like I said, that is from the backyard in the underground who has made it into the pros, and people like him. He is one, he's like the tribal cheese, one of the people that comes on, and people love him. That's the difference between interviewers and me. Well, I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. My buddy Silas Walker, who was here Saturday and was here in the DBW stream earlier. Silas is another one of my favorites, and he is the DBW Global Champion and a counterpart of his. He's the general manager of DBW. There you go. Out of the front office. Because watch their stream, you'll find out. Want to say hello to Young Lurch. He is also a host. He does some independent wrestlers. He interviews, and he's got a channel, Blaze the Bingo Hall. You can check him out, Blaze the Bingo Hall. He's also on Instagram. He's on TikTok. He's on all that other stuff that you like. And if you want somebody else, because I'm boring and now it's time to move on for me, I'm going to be gentlemanly like and give his YouTube channel a plug. He had a show that just took place a little while ago. If you like to listen to what he has to say and you don't like the intros and you don't like my New York accent, you can go watch Blaze the Bingo Hall. So, no, he doesn't play bingo. He doesn't play bingo. But I've been to some senior centers where they play bingo was in politics. Aaron Blaze, Friday night's guest, would like to say have a great night. Hello to everybody. Thank you very much. Definitely sorry about that. School is important. You got to hit the books. Trust me on that. My co-host, James Heshy Tischler, is 60 years old and is going to law school.
Wow.
Talking about going to school. He's 60 and now decide he wants to be a lawyer because he feels the lawyers suck.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
More power to him.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He'll be back on here. Comatose is here. Obviously, our BTW Rumble 9 winner and the BYW Interpromotional Champion. Also, fellow promo wrestler, or you say promo different stuff. We'll get to it. But yes, how you doing, Comatose? Hope you're doing well. Haven't graduated. Yeah, but you're graduating. You graduated. You're going to graduate. You should be hitting the books for school. Do that. Haven't graduated. You'll get there. You'll definitely get there. And yeah, give a shout out to somebody. Yeah, give a shout out. Tell me the shout out is. The qualifications for a world champion must not be as strict as they used to be. Yeah, I think, who brought that up? It was D Savage who brought that up. A couple people have brought that up. I think Ramrock brought that up. Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody says something different. I guess when you say hi to Casey, does it mean hi to Anthony? Is that the way of saying hi to Anthony? I guess, right? I think we'll say yes. I want to see someone get this northwest country ass whooping. Ain't no DoorDash and fast food where I'm at. He's in Idaho. Yeah, I don't think they do DoorDash in Idaho. You think they do DoorDash in Idaho?
It just depends on where at, Idaho, I'm sure.
Thank you, Blaze. Yeah, Zilla, give a shout out. Yep, give James a follow on Taffy's Lounge. Definitely do that. My mother collects every card you can think of. You want to try to find a good card. There's somebody out there that collects books, and Sean Jovi collects Pokemon. A lot of people collect. I just don't have the time. I did collect baseball cards growing up. I have a wrestling card collection, but I don't have time. But there are people that still collect. I think Torrance Banks does. I think some of the DBW guys are into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. Mickey Knuckles is taller than you. Yeah, that's true. Well, you know what? Mickey Knuckles is a lot tougher than most of us. Hit the sub button here. And I got a good one here from Silas. Silas is a very accomplished wrestler. And maybe him ROEW, DBW. He lives in Pennsylvania, which is not too far, I think, from Michigan, and he's a general manager. Maybe you guys want to make a roster trade or something. Is that possible? Can you guys do like companies make trades? Have we
I
done that
really
yet?
don't know. I don't know if we do something like that, but if he wants to come up to ROAW, I don't see why not. And that seems to be something interesting about a guy in Pennsylvania that actually shows respect to me, unlike another one that's a little flame.
Oh, with
So,
D'Angelo the Flame, he's in another state.
not that guy. No, he's
Oh,
not from Pennsylvania. So,
I know. I don't think he's wrestled in Pennsylvania yet. Well, he's supposed to though for the Chase Wakefield match.
yeah. He came in here and said hey to you, but he didn't say nothing to me. I wonder why.
Well, do you
So,
think maybe you'll see him one day in real life?
oh, I feel bad for him if I see him one day. It just depends on him.
Well, you
On
know
what
what?
happens.
Maybe
Depends
you
on
and
him on what happens.
your cohorts and well, not cohorts, sort of, but your cohorts and the other parts of the state you didn't like might have agreed with you on that. But he seems to be doing well. You seem to be doing well. And speaking of
Yeah, we'll
people that are
see.
doing well, Nolan Money McDermott, he's
I just
alive.
have a little. I have a little doubt in a guy who is barely 20 years old who has more title reigns than John Cena. That's so weird. I don't know, but okay.
All right. Well,
Hey, what's
obviously,
up,
I'm going to
Nolan?
leave that for another time. But let's talk about obviously what's left here of the show. And that is ROEW. And I'm sure some comments. You and I were talking about this a few times off the air, and you wanted to address some of them. And I am sure now I'm going to pass the baton to you and let you get a few things off your chest, especially what's been going on in ROEW with natural selection, but also maybe some things that were said last week on Sportswire Radio. And I will give you the opportunity now to get off what's on your chest.
So apparently, what was said was that it seems to some people that James Taylor has lost control of his locker room inside ROEW. Let me
Yeah.
make it perfectly clear for
Yep.
all of you to understand 100% because whatever I say goes and it's just straight facts. I haven't lost control of my locker room. The only thing that I've lost control of because you can't really control them is three individuals. Three individuals that are the biggest pieces of trash in the history of this business. That being one Alex Cross, one Cash Carter, and one Jason Storm. Because in their eyes, they believe they run shit. I'm telling you, that's the only thing that seems to be out of control inside ROEW. As far as Jacob Collins goes, look, the man actually defeated Cash Carter and got the one up on him, and now he is the prestige champion, the second man in history to hold it. Not knocking Cash Carter's you know, title reign, but at the same time, it was time for him to drop it in my eyes because the guy has been, if anything, taken the prestige out of that championship. So now here comes a guy with class, as Jacob Collins would, and he's got the title now. And I know that's got to piss natural selection off. Quite frankly, I really don't give a damn if it pisses him or anybody off. The
Mm.
fact is Jacob Collins is the prestige champion now, and there's nothing that Jason Storm, Cash Carter, or Alex Cross can do about it. Now let's go back on and let's say it a little bit more. ROEW. There's some individuals in ROEW that's taking a ride over there to IMF go to the cage match, and they're going to be doing some stuff in the cage with guys like
Yeah.
JX, guys like Darktron, guys like Jason Storm. You know, I really do
Ah.
support somebody like JX who's going to go in there and do whatever he's got to do to get the job done. I damn sure going to support my right hand man who's going to go in there. You think I haven't talked to him? Of course I've talked to him. I've given pointers, and I'm there. If anything, I'm a cheerleader on the side, and I'm rooting them on, and I'm hoping that ROEW gets the victories on that night whenever we get to see it on YouTube. But as far as Jason Storm goes, he is the world champion of my company, the company in all of underground wrestling. And some Hulk Hogan that's on here who likes to think that he's number one in all of this community, he's dead wrong when it comes to ROEW being number two, because if there's anybody that's number two, it's going to be anybody else other than what he is. So Jason Storm going one-on-one with Soldier GP, they're going to tear it down. I'm sure of it. But somebody like me, I don't give a damn who wins, who loses. All I want is to see them beat the ever-living crap out of each other, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy every single second of it. I could care less if they kill each other, because that just means I've got one less Jason Storm to worry about and one less Soldier GP to worry about from here on out. So they can burn the house down for all I care, Tom, and everybody else that's listening. Darkron, JX, Jacob Collins, whoever from ROEW is going, they've got my support 100%. But Jason Storm, I could give a rat's ass what happens to him. Period.
Okay, so I'm getting a sense that Soldier and Jason, that you just hope they beat each other up, and it doesn't matter to you who wins, but you obviously have no love lost for both men, but you seem to be, I guess, a little bit ticked off about the fact that ROEW is perceived as the number two. Tell
It's
us
not
why.
perceived in one person's eyes. It's perceived as number two because he's so in over his head because of that damn bandana and them nasty ass fucking braids he wears all the time. He really thinks his shit doesn't stink. So that's why he's the one that sees ROEW as number two, when in all of the record books, ROEW is number one. ROEW is the place that everybody wants to go to, not where Soldier Hogan wants to be.
Well, I think people want to go to a lot of places. I don't know who's number one or not. That's a question I'll leave people out with.
And
I
with
don't
all due
know.
respect, Tom, I know you're
Yeah.
going to be unbiased on, or you're going to be biased and
No,
unbiased,
I
and
honestly am not, because
and that's
I
fine.
know where my bed I know my platform, and it's an ROEW IMF heavy platform. So I'm not going to say, oh, which one is the best. I think that they're both great companies, and I think people actually want to go to both places. I think that that's an objective point, that people have gone to both companies, and they love working there. But every wrestler's going to say they're the best. I mean, what would you expect him to say other than his company's number one? I
I
mean,
get it. I get it. I totally do. But there's a difference between actually saying it and actually believing it. Now, I'm sorry. There's a lot of guys in IMF that I 100% agree and respect and support in any way that I can. Guys like El Drago, um, guys like Sean Jovi, guys like I don't want to feed his ego. I like Omen Black, and I kind of like Justin Parsley, but I, it's just there's some egos that are there that they believe too much in their own hype, and they can't wrestle. And if that pisses them off, and if it really pisses you off, then say something about it.
but
Because the
he's going to
last
come
time
across
that
and
I was
say,
down there,
yeah.
I did show up. After 2 years, I showed up because it finally made a difference for me to show up. And I came there with one intention, and that was to beat your sorry fat ass. And that's exactly what I did, Soldier. I beat your ass. And then Justin Parsley just happened to get the lucky 1, 2, 3. And you could go ahead, rub it in, throw the little, I hit my stunner on you, you never kicked out. Okay, it was a lucky fluke. The fact is, you didn't pin me. You didn't get the job done. But I can promise you, son. I can promise you, you big titty looking mother. I can promise you.
I got that all right. I got
If
that on
you
time.
and me ever met one on one, win, lose, or draw, I am going to wipe the floor with you. I am going to beat the crap out of you, period. And it's going to be an ass whooping you've never had in your life, unlike anybody. And you can say anybody. It says all the same shit to me, blah, blah, blah. But
All right,
then
well,
I
let me
always end
ask
up
you a
winning.
question on that.
Okay,
Okay, let me
you
ask
go
you.
ahead and do that.
I want to come back to Jacob in a minute because I do want to talk about Jacob because he actually is a part of something that goes back to a question you addressed a few minutes ago, and I'm going to ask you a thought on that. But it sounds like you and Soldier, maybe should that match for you happen in a neutral site environment? We were talking about you and Joey Knight, right? And talking about, okay, maybe it should be in a place where there's no advantage for one person or the other. Is that what you're kind of getting to? That maybe you and
I
Soldier,
mean,
if
it
that's
doesn't really. Maybe that's what it's got to be. Maybe he needs to be out of his comfort zone and not in his
well,
IMF
well,
neighborhood.
he's going to
And
say
maybe I
conversely,
don't need
what
to
if
be
we
in my
have the match in
ROEW.
ROE? Well, he could conversely say, hey, look, he doesn't want to have a match with you in BYCW. He doesn't want to have a match with you in ROEW, but maybe, I don't know, in a place like LAW. It could be any place that's neutral. Where there's no, it could be DBW, right? It could be
Honestly,
DBW.
at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter where it's at. He can have the home field advantage because he knows damn well he wouldn't want to show up in my yard or in my community, in my neck of the woods. Because if he came in my neck of the woods, he'd be destroyed
But he's going to say
in
that
a
he's
matter
been
of
to
minutes.
ROEW, though. But he's going to say that he's been to ROEW multiple times. You still haven't
He
been
can
there
show
yet.
up to ROEW all he wants. The fact remains is that I run ROEW. He may run or be part runner of IMF. It doesn't matter. But in my neck of the woods, I say what goes. In his neck of the woods, he's going to say what goes. But he can call all the stipulations he
Have you
wants.
talked to
At
guys
the
that
end of the
you're
day,
Well,
huh?
have you talked to guys that you're close with in ROEW about this? Have you talked to Jacob? Have you talked to Kron? Have you talked to, let's say, even CJ? Have you talked to the guys that are on maybe your side of the coin about this situation? What do they think? I mean, that might be something people want to know.
As an owner,
Yeah.
respectively, I don't bring my business when it comes to matchups with
Mhm.
anybody on my roster because they all got their own stuff that they need to take care of and worry about. They're
Right.
trying to make the names for themselves and they've established their
Completely.
names. They've established their names in this community on who they are. CJ Black,
Absolutely.
Jacob Collins, Dark Cron, Matthew Forsaken, Alex Cross, Cash Carter. Yeah, as big pieces of trash as they are, but beside the point, and all eyes are on ROEW because of the storylines that we got and that we produce every single week for the community. Because we are here to tell a story, and that's the greatest story in all of backyard wrestling. And it's just in all of underground wrestling for that matter.
Listen, I think ROEW is a great company. I think IMF is a great company. I love seeing ROEW guys in an IMF ring, and I love seeing IMF guys in an ROEW ring.
Maybe that's what it needs to come down to. Maybe a big ass show somehow. IMF versus ROEW. Kind of like a Survivor Series type matchup.
Good
Maybe a big
idea.
old 8-man or a 10-man tag team elimination match. That'd be some interesting shit right there. But I think what it's got to come down to is an agreement between both parties. I'm just pitching it out there, not saying when, not saying if it's going to happen, not saying who's going to be in it because we don't know. It's just a matter of can we bring it together? Can we make something like that happen? Because think about it, in all the community of all the companies that are out there, and I'm one of the biggest supporters in this community of almost everybody in the community. Almost everybody, it just depends on who it is. And but think about it. Two big companies head to head in competition. Team ROEW, Team IMF. Survivor Series style matchup. I think that would be a match that a lot of people would
I
want to
tell
see.
you what,
And
that would
not
be
only that,
very exciting.
right before you say, I'm sorry, but it was
No,
just
it's
on the
okay.
tip
It's
of my
okay.
tongue.
Okay.
But not only that, it would be dual broadcasted on both platforms.
And that's like in March 26, 2001, when WCW was broadcasted the announcement of them being bought by WWF on WWF TV. That was the I think the national network at the time. So yeah, I mean that's certainly a great idea. I would love to see it. There's so many possibilities. It could just write itself. It's a great story, and we know the history between both companies. And I would love as a fan of both companies. I think that would be great. But there was something actually that does help your case that you haven't lost the locker room in ROEW, because after we spoke about that, the next day we just showed the footage. Jacob Collins got a huge victory, a much needed victory for guys that do see things like you, like Darkron, like CJ Black, like Jacob Collins, who won the Prestige Championship, and a huge victory. And now for the first time, we have to wonder, what is natural selection to do now that they've suffered for the first time, maybe a setback? And how does Jason Storm feel that Cash Carter has now relinquished the Prestige Championship to Jacob Collins?
Well, I know he's probably got to be livid about it. I guess we're going to find out this weekend on Face Off, so stay tuned to that.
I'm going to be there in the chat.
I'm curious to see how he's going to respond to that myself. And I love the fact that Jacob Collins won. And I gave the man a call. I congratulated him because Jacob Collins is a guy that you need to believe in. He might seem like one of the biggest underdogs
in this community. He was going to be here for the afternoon show. In fact, spoiler alert, we were going to have him come here and put him in the Hall of Fame, but he'll do it the next time you're here. So,
well, he's a guy that's definitely an underdog of this community, and he's
big underdog. You guys worked really hard. Really great guy, has worked really hard, and he got a victory that a lot of people. I think this victory means just as much to him as when he won the world title, because this one he got to hold it. He actually got to hold the title more than a minute, and it was a big victory, but a much needed victory really for him and CJ Black and Darkron, the Underground OG, because again, natural selection. I mean, they were just running roughshod, but now for the first time, do you think fingers are being pointed right now between the three of them and what happened with Cash Carter? What do you think is going on in the minds of Storm, Cross, and most certainly Carter?
I can't wait to see, because I want to see them fall apart. Hopefully they will fall apart. Maybe they'll unite. I don't know. But to see the look on their faces when Jacob Collins picked up the victory was probably the greatest thing. And to see how they're going to respond this weekend on Face Off, I'm going to love every single second of it. So.
And I mean, obviously, that's got to make you feel good. And maybe that shows to people that you've been doing your job. You know what you're doing. And now this is kind of like it maybe says, you know what? No, I told you, I know what I'm doing. I stick to the plan. The Underground OG is going to be motivated, Darkron, for this. CJ Black, deep down, he's going to be fired up. And now Jacob Collins, I mean, he even said it. He said one down. You did hear that on Face Off, right? He said that Storm and Cross are in his crosshairs, and maybe they can do it now. I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk more about this, and it's got to make you a very happy man and showing to the world that you've been doing your job and that the locker room, not only have you haven't lost the locker room, you've got more confidence in that locker room, and that could even maybe spill over to guys like Kyle Shelby.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Kyle Shelby is another one of them up-and-comers that's definitely wanting to
he's working hard.
Feet wet. And I'm sure he's got some revenge for somebody like Alex Cross and Jason Storm. So, I mean, there's a lot of you think that they run shit and I've lost control. I mean, look at just the little stop right there with Jacob Collins. Tell me I've lost control of my company. I created the Prestige Championship and all the rules that are in it. Everything that you see on ROEW television, that's because those are my rules that I set forth when it comes to competing for that title. And that counts for any outsider. I don't care if they're IMF, DBW, BTW, BYCW, whoever comes to ROEW to face anybody for that ROEW Prestige Championship, you go by the rules. You go by the rules 100%. Or you'll lose instantly, period. And nobody else does that.
That makes a good point. Maybe Joe Stone is nearby in the ROEW.
Joe Stone,
100%,
yeah.
That's a great point.
Joe Stone is he's a kid that's definitely coming up. the ranks, and he's somebody you want to keep your eye on.
Oh,
100%.
he was a part of the first match in Sportswire radio history here live. We love Joe Stone on Sportswire, and we love ROEW, and we can't wait for more ROEW. And I'm always in the chats for ROEW, and hit the sub for ROEW. I love ROEW. I can't stress it enough. ROEW, and I love IMF, and I love all the companies that come on here. But Soldier GP has arrived, and he does want to say before we get ready to sign off, crazy how your fill in the blanks promo work is all you got is fat jokes. And Pathetic Taylor, same thing over and over. He says, shut the hell up.
Oh, okay, Tubby.
Well, I mean, maybe you guys will be exchanging Christmas cards.
Maybe the guy's ego was just horrible. Just horrible. Hell, I think Aaron Blaze is a better wrestler than him. So,
Well,
anyways,
I think they're all great. Listen, I think you guys are all great. And I think that I'm not going down that road. We want Gary Wolf to come back to Sportswire. But
yes,
I mean, listen,
Gary Wolf.
Gary Wolf's a good man. By the way, please buy his book.
Go
Please
buy Gary Wolf's book, ladies and gentlemen.
I got the copy for you.
Not Soldier GP because the guy.
Well, I
can't
would buy
write.
a Soldier book. Do you think you and Soldier would you write the foreword for Soldier's book?
Yeah, I'll do his autobiography for him. Yeah, all he's got to do, hey, just Soldier, call me. Call me.
You know what we should do? You write the foreword, and then Aaron Blaze could write the back of the book.
Aaron Blaze can write the back, at least he can write a little bit. I'll give him that. The kid's got a little bit of credit. So yeah, we'll definitely we can work something out. Soldier, just give me a call. Talk to my agents. They'll talk to you. We'll
let
see
me
if we
ask
get
you though
past your
before we
ego,
close. Before we
and
close
then
the show,
we'll work something out.
Let me ask you this before we sign off here. If let's say you're in ROEW, eventually one day I'm sure you'll show up to ROEW. It's your company. You want to see what it's like. What if Soldier's there? I mean, what would that be like?
What do you mean what it'll be like?
Yeah.
Soldier GP's in my company. I'll go up, I'll welcome him in, I'll shake his hand, and welcome to ROEW. Welcome to the real ROEW where it's really ran.
What
And
about
we're gonna
Aaron?
show you
What
how we
about
do
a
things.
name, Aaron Blaze, who's here Friday? What do you think if you were in the same room as Aaron Blaze, possibly? What do you think
Hey,
that?
nothing. I mean, it's just
Okay.
we're in the same room. If he wants anything out of me, anybody who's not earned my respect or who has disrespected me, you don't get too many chances with me if you cross that line. But I'm willing to give that kid or anybody else that's done that, which there isn't many, mostly just him, the chance to come up to me, talk to me like a man, apologize, whatever you think you need to do to make it right. Let's work it out, and I'm willing to hear you out. But
Do you think you'll
if
see
you're
him
not
back?
even willing, even if I'm in the same room, if you're not even willing to come up to me and shake my hand and show any respect, then you definitely don't earn mine.
Well,
Because I'm not here to
I'm
give
gonna
it.
let you know that he's here Friday night, 9:00, and I'm gonna ask him about ROEW. I am going to ask him, does his future involve ROEW? We know he's in DBW right now, and he's got a match with Chase Wakefield. And we're
Tell
definitely
him, you tell him Friday night.
yes, sir.
Deliver the message, if you will, because I know he ain't going to watch it. But if you tell him, it'll be different. You tell him that the owner of ROEW, the nemesis, James Taylor, is saying he is welcomed in ROEW. I said he's welcomed in ROEW. I might not like him right now. I might not respect him right now. But he can come to me as the man, as a whatever champion he thinks he is. And if he wants my respect, he needs to come to me. And if he doesn't, then that's on him. And that just shows the character and the person that he is. But other than that, he is welcome still in ROEW.
Okay, well, I like to see him in ROEW. I'd like to see him in IMF, and I'd like to see him anywhere he would like to wrestle. That's up to him, and I'll ask him those questions. We're going to talk about him and DBW, and we have a lot to talk about there, and certainly BTW, our friends in BTW like Comatose, so we love them, and DBW, obviously, with Chase Wakefield. So great stuff ahead. I bet Jack Delta makes a comeback before James Taylor showed up to ROE. Well, Jack Delta is still not anywhere close to being back in the ring, so that's I wouldn't know when that'll be, but I think that you will certainly figure out when you'll want to be in ROW, and he'll play Grand Theft Auto 6 before James Taylor shows up in Michigan. But you've been to Michigan before, so that's a moot point because you actually have been to the great state of
I'd play
Michigan.
GTA 6 before Soldier GP actually grows up
Well,
and
would you want
learns
to
what
play
this business
GTA
is
6?
about.
What about would you guys want to play online against each other, GTA 6?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what?
I'd
We
invite
can
the
film it
sorry
on
bastard to come on
Sportzwire.
and play me in Tekken 1-on-1.
I'll
He ain't
tell
gonna
you,
do
you know
that.
what?
He can play me in Street Fighter. He can play me in Mortal Kombat. He can play me in WWE 2K. Either way you look at it, I'm still gonna beat his
Well,
sorry
I'll tell you
ass.
what.
Period.
Do you want? We can do it on Sportswire. We can have you and Soldier game each other. Maybe we can broadcast. I'll broadcast it.
He's
You
so
and him.
yeah. I know.
Well,
Let's not
if you
get the
want.
politics involved though.
Okay,
Heaven
but well, if
forbid
you're gonna play a
we get the
video game,
politics
I
involved.
don't think in video games you can politic. It's whoever wins the game. So we can
Yeah,
broadcast
because
that
it's
here.
straight skill. You got to go off a skill level.
I have no skills in games, but I would certainly love to use my skills to stream a video game competition between Soldier GP and James Taylor or anybody else. By the way, if you want to play a game on here against each other and the chat thinks it's interesting, I'm open to
Hey,
it.
it
I
might be
mean,
interesting, soldiers. You just any day you want to come on here, let's have a little game 1-on-1 because you're talking about GTA. So clearly you're a fan. Get on GTA. I'll get it the same day. Hey, we'll connect. I know you play on PlayStation unless you play on that crappy crap box. But
I actually have an Xbox. I don't
so
play, but I
okay, well
actually
then there
stream
you
on it.
go.
That's okay. No,
There you-
I don't play on it. I use it to watch YouTube, but it's okay.
There you go. There you go.
We love Xbox. We love PlayStation, and I'm throwing it out there. So if you're out there and you want to compete against somebody here in the chat, and you want to maybe compete on a game, I'll stream it here on Sportswire. If people think,
Oh my God! If anybody plays Tekken, please, I would love to do that shit
you
here on
think Soldier,
Sportswire.
I'll
I'll
tell you
show
what.
you a straight ass whipping
Yeah,
in
I
Tekken.
thought Anthony plays Tekken. Doesn't he play Tekken?
No, Anthony don't play no Tekken. He's too chicken shit to play Tekken.
You think
He'll
Soldier
play
plays Tekken?
WWE and swear up and down that he could kick my ass when I know he
Oh,
can't.
I would love. I'll tell you what. We're getting to 1,500 subscribers. I would love to see you and Anthony WWE 2K game on here. Oh man, I will definitely stream that on here. Somebody let Anthony know. Is Casey here still? We can let
You
him
let
know.
Anthony know. Let Anthony know that I'm gonna beat his
I'll
ass
do
in
that.
WWE 2K.
Great idea. I will do
Straight
that.
up. And that's not a cap. That's
We're
just a
getting to
fact.
1,500 subs. It's either going to be this week or next week. So we'll do that after that, and we're gonna have you and Anthony game one. Oh man, I can't wait for Anthony and you to game. It's gonna be like old times again. I can't wait.
That'd be more entertaining to watch than any Soldier GP match ever on record. Period.
No, he's had some good matches, and I think I'll tell you what.
The only match that was kind of decent was whenever I was in it, but that's okay.
I'm going to disagree.
That was it.
I'm actually going to tell you what Soldier GP matches are far more interesting, and then what you said tonight when some pro wrestlers come on here that you're bored of. So to be fair, there are things that
Okay.
Soldier does
All
that
right.
are pretty good,
All
and
right.
I'm right.
I'll give the kid a little credit. He's got a little bit better matches than some of these pro wrestlers that come on here. Okay. Yeah.
They come on here and
I
can't
don't want to
talk.
stroke
I mean,
his ego too much. He get too excited for
well,
that.
we appreciate
Won't you,
Soldier.
Soldier? Huh?
We appreciate Soldier. We appreciate James
We
Taylor.
appreciate Soldier GP. Yes, we do.
We appreciate the PWF. We appreciate ROEW. We appreciate IMF. We
You're
appreciate
looking at
every
the future real PWF champion, not that parsley gimmick or whatever.
I was
that is.
also
Jack
saying
Nicholson, David
we
Spade,
appreciate the PWF, the Promo Wrestling Federation, because we're on YouTube there with that.
Pro
So we do
Wrestling
appreciate that.
Federation, That's right.
So I think obviously we're getting late, and I think the chat is starting to get tired. So maybe it's time to pass the baton to you and give you some closing thoughts. I'll put Taffy's Lounge up in the background so people can hit that sub button for us, and you can take it away here. Just to think we weren't going to do a show, and yet we had a lot of people here that they were very happy you came on here because you built this platform, and I can't wait to celebrate 1,500 subscribers. And I can't wait to see you here and celebrate with Soldier GB.
Yeah. Hey, Soldier. Thanks for the views, buddy. Thanks for the views.
I can't wait to see you celebrate with Soldier and Anthony and Omen. It's going to be like old times again. We're going to be reunited when we get to the 1,500 subscriber milestone. We're going to do that show. I can't wait. Darkron's going to be here. It's going to be Sean Jovi. It's going to be like old times. I can't wait. We're almost there. So it's going to be soon. But until then, because we didn't get there tonight. But that's okay. Well, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. But in the meantime, you got some closing thoughts. I'm going to give you that opportunity. I'm going to put your YouTube handle up in a minute there and pass the baton to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, go check out only if you want to, because only one person has said, oh, he's just got a bunch of crappy music. All you do is make crappy music. That's where the disrespect came from that I don't like. Also, the fact of saying that I was old and I was washed up and I'm just a stone cold knockoff. Oh my God, I haven't heard that before. Some of these guys want to get personal on here. And I'm warning you, you keep getting personal, I'll drag you through the mud and I won't let go. I promise you. Don't push my buttons. That's all I'm going to say. Go check out my wife's YouTube channel, Taffy's Lounge. I helped her get it started. She's been taking control of it. She's been kicking ass on it. So definitely go check it out. She's got a live, I think, going on right now.
Yeah, I've been in the lives.
I,
by the way, have been in the lives. You can actually say the missus knows that there's been one person who has been in those lives and will be in the live because I'm going to be up for a little while longer after this. So I will be in the live.
There you go. I appreciate that. I think she had 2 or 3 nights ago, she had a top of 166 people at once in there, and they stayed for about an hour duration. Because you look at the analytics of YouTube, and it's wild. We don't buy our views here, Tom. We actually have them all organic. So that's one thing. But hey, beside the point. Appreciate everybody that come out. Just wanted to get some stuff off my chest. Look forward to kicking some ass and kicking Dalton Skull's ass for sure. And I'm going to take that Uprising title. I'm looking forward to seeing Face Off and seeing the look on Jason Storm and Alex Cross and even Cash Carter's face when they come to the reality that, you know what? He's not the Prestige champion no more. I look forward to seeing what's going to unfold there. Ladies and gentlemen, go follow here at Tom, getting him up to 1,500 subscribers. He's not too far behind Taffy's Lounge. He's right there. Get him up there with it. And go check out
RBW's almost there, too. RBW's right behind.
That's right. And BYCW is almost there. BYCW is a little over north of 1,300 subscribers.
Yes.
And all organic, too. Nobody buys no views here, Tom. So definitely go check that out. Appreciate you. This isn't my show. I just come here sometimes.
All right, so I guess you were not changing it to the Nemesis session because I was getting ready to announce my retirement.
I think the Nemesis session is probably going to be retired. I don't know. I've had a few requests to come on it and get it back going, but I don't know yet because I just don't feel like it would be the same as it would be if they came here on Sportswire Radio, the #1 global platform.
Gary came here. I mean, listen, we had Gary Wolf and
the real Gary.
I mean, I don't know anybody named Gary in the chat.
I don't either. I know a Gary Wolf, though.
I know Pitbull Gary Wolf, and we had him here a few days ago in your chair, and it was great. And we had these bands, and they were great. We had a lot of views, actually, for them. And Zilla says she wants to give a shout. Before I go, let me say a little Zilla, because she wanted to give a shout-out to Caden Gallows, her favorite wrestler in BCW.
Zilla, what happened to Jason Storm and Cash Carter?
No, she said BCW, favorite wrestler in BCW.
Of all time.
Well, whatever it might be. Listen, thank you for tuning in. Keep tuning in.
Thank you, Zilla, for tuning in.
And
Zilla's a true fan.
And Anthony Steele would like to say what's good. Well, I do want to say to Anthony before we go that when we get to 1,500 subscribers, Anthony,
I'll whoop his ass in WWE 2K all day long.
And I'm going to say, and I don't have much of a voice after this because my voice is starting to hurt because I did a radio show before this. But what I will say to Anthony is, Anthony, when we hit 1,500 subscribers, I would like to see Anthony Steele and James Taylor live do a WWE 2K battle. We would like to see you two square off and decide once and for all who wins and who gets the rubber match between Anthony Steele and James Taylor 1-on-1. Not technically a triple threat, but this time 1-on-1. So hopefully these two men can agree to have that match live on Sportswire. We'll call it that WWE 2K match, and James will be the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Anthony will be John Cena, and it'll be great.
Yeah, let's do that. He swears up and down. He got lucky in 2K20 with the glitchiest of all the 2K games. We met one-on-one in person. I had my PS5, brought the game. He wanted to play. He got a lucky victory over me. It was back and forth, but because of that glitch, he just got the one up and got the 1, 2, 3 and swears he's just that damn good. But I promise you he's not. And in 2K25, right here on Sportswire Radio, if we do it, and if he accepts, Tom, I'm gonna kick his ass. Period. 1, 2,
Well,
3. No
we'll certainly
submissions.
see. We'll certainly see, and Anthony hopefully will accept that, and we will definitely talk about it. It is certainly been one memorable episode. I hope you check it out. We'll be here 9 o'clock tomorrow with Tyson Spade, and in between that, we'll have Aaron Blaze at 9 o'clock. That'll be one that I'm sure there will be people tuning in, and we'll have Yoshi Matsuda on Saturday. So we have some different shows, and well, I'm sure Friday is the one where people are going to be tuned into. I know Friday. Well, actually, Tyson Spade's going to get a lot of people. He's a news member at DHC. He's got a lot to say. So we have two great shows coming ahead, and then Yoshi Matsuda's back. He's the Oya Bun. He's going to be back, and he's got plenty to say, and we're going to certainly see what he has to say. And thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. That is James Taylor, and I hope that we will see you soon. And I look forward to that. And thank you, everybody. Hit the sub button for us, and get us to 1,500 subs so we can see Anthony and James battle in 2K and reunite like old times. And that is James Taylor, the ROEW owner. He'll be squaring off for the PWF Uprising Championship. Speed Limit sits against Dalton Skull. Also, you'll see him soon coming to Sportswire Radio near you. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio channel, Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.